Welcome to the Data Dojo podcast, hosted by Adam Massey and powered by the Aurek Group. Every week, we dive deep into the world of data, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. Here, we bring you conversations with the leading minds who are shaping the future of these cutting-edge fields. So get ready to unlock the secrets of data and discover the stories behind the algorithms.
Hi, and welcome to the Data Dojo podcast. My name is Adam Massey. I'm your host. We're up to episode 3 now, and this week I'm joined by James Hartwright. Now, James has been in the industry for over 30 years, worked his way right up to the C-suite, and more recently set up his own business called Pragmaticians. As part of that Pragmaticians role, he does 4 different positions at the C-suite. So you're obviously a very, very busy man, James.
Yes.
So really happy to have you on the show. How
Thank
are you
you
today?
Yeah, good. Thank you. It's been in my lots of weeks of lots of roles. It's been a really busy week so far.
Yeah.
We've just gone through an ISO external audit. We passed, but yes, it's one of those in that jumble of roles that I have that keeps me busy.
Excellent. So the way I like to kick things off is to get a bit of a background on your journey. So maybe you can give us a bit of an idea of what led you up to this path you're on now, and how you got here.
Sure. So you said over 30 years. As of tomorrow, it's 37 years in IT. And I started as a trainee developer on PCs. And then had a little bit of a flair for doing it, so went up. But then probably the pivot was I learned a new language for the whole of UK, and got to grips with it. And then I was then shipped off around the country to train and help and guide. And I found that, and then the next lot of going in and talking to actual business users, I went, okay, this is what I really like, looking at problems, solving problems from that. At that point, going and coding away and delivering it. But, I got that sort of the bug, the bug, not in coding terms, but the bug for getting in and solving problems, and also the teaching and training part. And that's been through my career. So from the UK through to the US here 20 years ago, has been my sort of thread of the things that I really enjoy. And I've pretty much followed, I think I'm really going to enjoy this, let's go for it sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think some of the companies you've worked for previously, I think you mentioned you was a real top level role at NewCorp.
Yes.
So you've worked quite a few different industries.
Yeah. There's probably another one in give me an industry to learn about and I'll go off and do it. So yes. UK and US, I was building marketing databases. So I built IBM's European and then North American marketing database for them. So that was early 2000s, and we had an 80 terabyte marketing database for them, which was rather big at the time. Yeah. And then, coming here, got into enterprise asset management. So that's all of the utilities. So all of the things in water pipelines, electricity pylons through, and taking the data, understanding the data, and processing it to get insights, to do trending and predictive analytics on. So that was one big block that I'm continuing on. And then, NewCorp was a very left field piece, an opportunity to go and work for a very large company that was very much in transition from, Rupert still likes the paper, but moving from that to the digital side and understanding that although you can still push content, the actual reception of that content, and people have other places to go. So there I went in and built a whole single view of customer, and actually working with those of going, hey, here is some content we believe that you'd like, and keeping that engagement process going. So that was a really interesting role. Started with 12 people in the team, ended up with 40. It was like, okay, this was another cool area to go into. Yeah.
Excellent. And I guess what sort of drove you to set up Pragmaticians?
Well, my original plan was to go down to 4 days a week to actually give myself space. I've completely failed at that. But it was, I think, to that thing I said earlier, is I love problem solving. And, I was getting into bigger and bigger organizations for bigger and bigger problems to solve. But the other part there was, well, what's my legacy going to be? I've hopefully got another 10, 15 years in me, but what am I going to leave behind? So that training and maturing or just educating people felt like a big thing that I needed to do for myself. So setting up Pragmaticians was to be able to go in to mid-sized or large organizations, come in and look at their data and analytics strategy or their MarTech and AdTech block and go, hey, I believe that you've got gaps here from where you told me you want to go and the systems you have. And it wasn't, we could have been a management consulting in organization and just drop that in. Here's a 50-page report and go off and do something. But I really wanted to go, we'd love, if you like us, we'd love to come in and help you on that piece. So engage us for the next year, a day a week or something like that, and let us help you move forwards. That was my initial thought. And yes, it's worked, as I say, way better than I thought because I'm doing more than 4 days a week now. Yeah.
And I guess what are the kind of biggest challenges then most of your clients are facing at the moment?
Yeah. Within COVID, it was more around, well, what do we do? How do we do it? So how do I quickly get information that's going to tell me what isn't working the way that it used to and how it, so there was a much more rapid reactive block there. But as we've come in the last year, 2 big things, data quality. So as we're doing much more AI and generative AI on top of data, the quality of the data is becoming paramount. And it's not just, I need 100% quality data. It's more, I need to understand what level of quality I'm at.
Okay.
So if I see an error in the data, we should go back and fix it at source, but just mark that record with something that says, little bit dodgy, this piece of data, but still let it pass through. Because just moving it out, you start moving 1%, 5%, 10% of your data out. And then what's the AI going to run on? It's going to run on inaccurate data for what your whole organization is. So the data quality for AI is one of the big ones. The second, and I think, unfortunately, we're only at the start of it, is the cybersecurity side.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm getting it mostly from that data aspect. So there's always going to be attacks. There's always going to be people coming in and trying to break into your system for fun, but much more normally now for ransomware, for exfiltration and selling it on the dark web. So a lot of the strategic type stuff I'm now doing is applying the data governance layer. So making sure that individuals within the organization can only access the data that they need for their role.
Yeah.
If we do that, what that means is if anybody does manage to take over that account, they get the bare minimum of access to the bare minimum of data. Of course, we've got all of the other controls around to go to alert or stop, multi-factor authentication to stop somebody getting it over. But it's if I can reduce the surface attack area that somebody can see when they get in, that's basically what I've been doing in a number of organizations. And that's a manner of the access control, classifying what the data is, but also as we're moving into a new Privacy Act, well, do you really need to see the whole address for this individual? Can we pull a bit out? Can we just go, well, is the postcode good enough?
Yeah.
If the postcode's good enough, well, we'll segregate off that really detailed data and put that in. Do you really need the date of birth? Do you really need the year of birth? Could we do ranges of age? And you basically work on that raw data and provide something that's still useful, but isn't as sensitive and that a hacker wouldn't be able to get, really detailed data that they want out of that information if they get it.
Yeah. Excellent. I mean, data security is paramount. All these fancy new tools, different processes that you can use. Your quality of your data is so important, what you put in, because if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. And then being able to kind of secure that data and make sure that it is safe is so important these days. I think one thing I wanted to touch on, obviously, with the fractional leadership thing, it's quite a little bit of a buzzword at the moment. I think people are very intrigued by it and how it actually works. I think we said you're doing 4 roles. So it'd be interesting to understand what those roles look like and how you maybe manage your time across those.
So I'm Chief Technology Officer and Chief Data Officer for a startup called Traffic. And that's about 2 days a week. I'm Chief Data Officer for Tourism Tasmania. So that's a state government organisation, but much more citizen-facing and visitor facing, so trying to get really good visitors who are going to have a great time in Tasmania, and all of the industry and the operators who are providing the product for those visitors to come and use. I'm Chief Strategy Officer on the edge in the data area for an enterprise asset management company. So basically all of your power lines, all of your water lines, gas pipelines, helping people look after those assets, keeping the critical assets up and using data for that.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one is my sort of on the edge, my Pragmaticians work, which is going in and doing those data strategy, analytics strategy reviews and getting them on the line. So that's one part is I've filled myself up. So now what we've got is we've got some friends, ex-colleagues who are going, I really like what you're doing. Could we come in and join? So I'm crafting up what the next set of blocks of those C-level engagements that we can do are. Yeah.
Excellent. And I guess then how does that work then from time planning? Is it quite chaotic or?
I try to make it non-chaotic. Sometimes there are. So the big thing I've got is a centralized calendar. So all my bookings for all those organizations go in and distribute themselves. So my key thing is, hey, if you want a meeting with me, go and look at my calendar, find a block. If you can't find a block, give me a call. Because there's always, as you say, there's always those things of, we've got a prospective client tomorrow. They can only do 9 to 10 a.m. We'd love to have you there, James. Can you move stuff around? And most of the time it's yes. But yeah, certainly that calendar organization is a piece. And, it's things like on the Sunday, going and looking and planning for what you've got through the week and just prepping some stuff, maybe hopefully not on the Sunday, but prepping stuff and going, okay, I need to do this for this and this for that. The CEO for one of the organizations I was having dinner with last night, and he said, you're very programmatic, James. It's like, it's just there's something in there that's gone, when I say, hey, we've got this meeting, you've got some collateral already for it. Yeah. And it's that sort of thing, just, preparation. I'm married to a project manager, so maybe she's rubbed off on me in some way. Yeah.
And how did you go about kind of getting these roles? I think when we spoke offline, you mentioned like going down to startup hubs and networking.
Yep.
Is that kind of how it's kind of organically grown?
There's been a bit of that, but actually it's things like ex-colleagues. You get to my age and the colleagues you were working with, like right down there in the deep of building campaigns, they're now coming up to that C-level area or strategy area. So there's been a lot that comes from there. But yes, that's not the full gamut. Coming in and doing startups, going and engaging with other partners. So we do a lot with Salesforce. We do some stuff with a company called Supermetrics. That's in the customer data platform MarTech area. So we go in and we help them deploy, but they therefore know that we do bigger data strategy things. So the next client that they come along that needs a bit of guidance, they'll go, we know somebody that we respect, we like, and they will introduce us in. So yeah, the building up those relationships with not just with individuals but with companies it's been our biggest driver thus far.
Excellent. And I guess maybe just to get into the weeds a little bit with some of the pieces of work you've been doing with some of these companies. I think you mentioned some stuff with Tourism Tasmania.
Yeah. Tourism Tasmania has been another interesting company. So Tourism Tasmania, Tasmanian state government organisation, but very much needing to engage citizens because it's like Tasmania's got some great things to offer. Getting the right sort of people to the right sort of areas so they can have a good time, tell their friends, come back again.
Yep.
So there was very much how we bring all of that to bear for the citizens and foreigners. Foreigners, that's a bad word, isn't it? so that we that customer funnel thing. So we get them hovering around the top. We've got brand recognition, and then as soon as they hit the website, take them on a journey that we believe. Let's help guide the journey so that we get to the point where they go, hey, I've got these 7 things. Let's go off and I'll book that in. When we started the strategy piece, we did a stakeholder map. Yeah. And of course, all of that thing of attracting travelers in is a massive piece to it. But there's all of the operators, all of the industry partners who are flying them in, bringing them in on a cruise ship, on a ferry, and then all of the operators going, I've got this attraction. I've got my B&B that I've just started up. We realized that we weren't doing a lot for them. So the last 6 months has been setting up a CRM for them, setting up website content for them, training courses on privacy, which is going to have to double over again in a couple of months. But also, I've just started up my little B&B. What should I do? How do I know whether I'm doing well or badly in comparison to everything else? So, and we realized in that there was actually quite a lot of internal data that we were gathering for Tourism Tasmania to go, hey, look, there's changes over here, that crafted in a different way was actually really valuable to a brand new operator. An operator who had been there for 5 or 10 years is going, I think I want to expand, but what's the rest of the year? What's it going to look like? What's next year going to look like based on information? So providing that level of information in a consumable way, because they're not techie, they're not data people.
Yeah.
So giving it to them in a way that we're not, it's not, hey, do this, but it's here's a set of information. Use this in terms of your decision making and go off and do it. And that was a really big piece for us in going, here is an area where we're setting up an area where you can come in, you can go and find information that's useful to you, and that once we know who you are and where you are, we can start providing you information. So it's sort of a subscription model, but they don't pay.
Yeah.
but it is definitely a customer engagement piece, and that the thing that brought me into the marketing side at day one was understanding behaviors and understanding the psychology of people. And actually now using data to go, hey, there's a pathway that we've had 50 people and they've all dropped off at that point. Is that a natural endpoint, or is it something that we should go and do and change? So that continuous improvement part was a big piece of the setup of there. So acting, listening, learning, and then acting again. So that's been a really cool one, not just from the perspective of it's a cool problem, but just going, there is a set of people here who had unmet needs that now, as a state government, we're doing a good thing and actually, feeding that back to them. Yeah.
Excellent. And also, I wanted to touch on Traffic AI for a moment as well. It'd be nice to understand, a little bit more about what Traffic AI do, and also some of the work you've been doing really recently and some of the wins you've got.
So Traffic was an interesting one. Yes, so that came out of that. There's a startup hub at Australian Computer Society, and I went in and did a little bit for one startup, and then the CEO of that startup was talking to another of the CEOs. I should just set up shop in there. But they went to talk to another CEO, and she said, well, we're just starting out, we're doing this. And she went, you should talk to James. So I got in there about 3 years ago. And it's a simple but complex problem that Traffic solve. So internal communications in large organizations tends to get just overloaded. Okay, so the CEO is sending out emails. Only 30% of the people are opening those emails. What do we do? Well, the message goes around to everybody open the email when it comes to the CEO, so that you get up to that 100% statistic. Yeah. But that doesn't actually get the thing. Hey, the CEO has a set of messages. We're going through CPG 235 to go, we've got to be compliant in this area. Just going, somebody's opened an email does not embed that change into the organization.
Yeah.
And we realized, so through the co-founders, they came from that area and they went, this isn't good enough, that we need to be able to go, we can see that this is being embedded. We can see that it's not just a responsive click for a bit of gamification, it's actually getting through and that. So grabbing all of the data that we could, utilizing that. And the first thing we found in there was nobody has space in their day. The communication overload from the normal work, and then the stuff from the CEO, the stuff from the CEO, the stuff from your boss's boss, the stuff from your boss, there's no space in the day. So we went back to marketing 101, which is, can I get the right message on the right channel at the right time? So right message. You've got the finance team who really want bullet point and with numbers on them. You've got the IT team who maybe want a video. Then can I get it on the right channel? So video. Do I post it on Slack rather than an email? Do I give somebody something to visually look at? And can I get it at the right time? So finding, if you can, that gap in the day, and delivering it there. So hey, we've seen that normally these people have around about 1 minute past 12, they start opening emails. So let's try and get the email in at 1 minute to midday, and then we're at the top of the list and the first thing to read. So that was basically the premise. It has been another interesting journey. So I've built products before, but this where we're starting from, can I actually get this data, and can I get it so that where I can find a level of commonality across organizations, then can I get that and depersonalize it, because there's, if you're looking at every single email, every single chat, there's quite sensitive information there. Can we desensitize, depersonalize that and still get value out of it? And then can we not just, hey, here is a dashboard of how badly you're doing, but something that says the benchmark was here, you're whichever way, above or below the benchmark. So what actions could you take in which areas to bring yourself to that benchmark? So it's actually a very active, engaging system. So a dashboard that says the AI behind here has seen this trending away.
Yeah.
If you leave it like it is, the way that path is going, in 3 weeks' time, there's something going to fail. So catch it and try and adjust it before it gets too bad. And then the second part on that is when you go, hey, I'm making this change, we will also track that, because you've gone, I want this thing that's trending out, I want to get it to there. So let us do in 3 months, over the next 3 months, let's see how well you're tracking. And if you're tracking out, we will also go, whatever you did there wasn't working as well as you expected. So this is, again, a really engaging, proactive, the AI doing a bit of oversight and being an enabler to you. And yeah, as I say, we've got, so startup, we started with a little 150 person company. Yeah. We then had a company with 2,000. And then about 6 months ago, we signed a company with 20,000 wired employees, which was amazing and terrible at the same time, because you've really, when you're getting into that size of enterprise organization, you've really got to improve everything you do. And the bit that you said recently, so we started out, we said we need to follow security management to that process of let's depersonalize, make sure that the data that we're pulling has limited access, and setting up the architecture to that. When we started talking to the larger enterprises, they go, have you got ISO 27001 security management? Have you got SOC 2? Are you covering GDPR? And we went, well, we've designed it, but we haven't got the certification.
Yeah.
You need certification if you're going to engage with us. So that's been my main job in Traffic for the last 3 months, is to get us to ISO 27001. We did our external audit yesterday, and basically the auditor went, you've passed.
You've passed.
Yeah. So it's got to go through a few checks, but basically I can't see anything wrong with your system. We got a couple of strengths. We got a couple of, you need to fix this, improve this. But basically we did. And it's not just me, it's all of the rest of the team in setting all of this up. But
it would have been a huge amount of work to get that.
And it's another thing I'm going, some of that part, I do actually want to go out and start talking to people, because the guy we had as the auditor, he was going, you're 11 people in this startup and you're following ISO 27001. It's like you're probably one of the smallest orgs that I've ever dealt with that's gone to this level of, gone to this level of coverage. And he went, you've done an amazing job for the people that you have. But it's, I think, to that thing earlier, the amount of cyber attacks that are going to come through, that something needs to be enabled for small organizations to be able to hit and match. And I've been thinking, maybe that's something that would be valuable that I can get value from and other people get help from. So I'm looking right. So if anybody's looking for any sort of, hey, help me in my security management, give me a shout and let's see what we do. Yeah.
Yes, as CTO, obviously the immersive thing, AI and all these new technologies, what do you see as the kind of next step in the future, and how do you kind of align with the strategy like Pragmaticians? Yes, as CTO, obviously the immersive thing, AI and all these kind of new technologies, what do you see as the kind of next step in the future, and how do you kind of align with your strategy like Pragmaticians?
Everybody now will have heard of the hallucination problem, and I know that everybody is trying to solve that. So, hey, AI, can you return this? And then you get another AI to go, hey, can you check the first AI's work? There's all sorts of things moving on there. So it's moving at such a pace that I'm not at the moment trying to go, we should build something new and exciting in that area, I'm going, well, let's utilize it. So
Yeah.
in most of the organizations that I'm working with, it's let's use it internally. So let's build a knowledge base. Let's actually build a RAG. So throw some of our extra data in and use that to give context and constructs to go, AI, go and look at this information before you go anywhere else. So doing that for internal process. So if somebody's on a call from the contact center and they don't quite know, they can go and ask the AI and the AI will return it to it. Very few of the clients that I've got have actually made that a public-facing part.
Yeah.
And part of it is the fear of the AI doing something wrong and then somebody, So a lot on that internally. And again, using some of that AI, so some of those recommendations that we do in traffic are off the back of generative AI. So here's a really dry set of data of noise score has increased by X% in this area over the last 3 months. Yeah, that's really dry. So what we have is that AI is actually going and looking at that data in a contextual way, going, here is the issue. And then similarly going, I have a pool of solutions. Yeah. So, hey, in this situation, this is my recommendation for what we're doing. So we're doing AI that's driven by the 30, 40 years of experience of our two co-founders that's actually bringing that up. So we are presenting that now to the client. But again, it's constrained and tuned to the context of these things. And it can only pick from one of the things that's a recommended action. It can't make up its own. Yeah.
Yeah. And I obviously forgot to mention you do have a co-founder.
Yes.
Part of Pragmaticians as well.
Yes, I do. Yeah. So Brent, so we worked together at Axiom. We built AGL's marketing database for them. That lasted 10 years. So we had the thumbs up there. And we'd sort of going out as drinking buddies and etc. So separated, combined. But he went down the ad tech space.
Yeah.
So basically, hey, I've got all of the information about all of my customers and the sort of products they're buying. So if they come to my website and disappear, how could I retarget them successfully and know what that is? But also, how can I use the pool of customers that I've got, good customers, and do lookalikes and find profiles out there in the ad space to do that, and basically use all of the data and keep on doing that and going, that one worked, that one didn't, why, what should we do? So he's very much in that, the technology space of ad tech, martech, and as I think I said, probably a strong Salesforce orientation historically, which why not? But yeah, he's out doing similar things to me in now under Pragmaticians to say, all right, as an organization, how do we get that data, connect that data, and actually improve business processes so that you're leveraging it properly? So let's use the tech that you've got. If you've got gaps in the tech, let's work out what the best tech to put in there. But the primary thing is you've normally licensed some tech. So let's make sure that you're getting the best out of it. And we do that through good, strong setups and templates, training, etc. So we come together in those parts around data governance and data. So he'll get that through. But yeah, he's basically doing, just as I said, we're going, here is a strategy where we can through ourselves or partners, let us help you implement this and get you mature. Look, there's another piece in there of you can go in and consult and you go, yeah, I'm sure that will work. But until you've actually seen it and you've gone, it didn't quite work the way I thought it did. That I think that's a any management consulting that isn't following through is missing a trick. That they're sitting from atop and going, you should do this, but they don't actually know that that's totally true. Yeah. So only by going in there and living the experience can you work out, right, on the next one, let's double down on this and maybe let's not do that in that way again.
Yeah. Excellent. And I guess then for people who want to get in touch with you and maybe get some information about what you're doing at Pragmaticians, what's the best way to go about that?
Yeah, so I always go Pragmaticians, but it's like, well, how do I spell that? There's an interesting one, Pragmatic Ians. We need to hire some Ians, but if you do Pragmatic and Ians, that's one way. The second is if you Google LinkedIn Mr. Data, MISTER Data, you'll find me, and then click through to LinkedIn and go and connect.
Perfect. And in the show notes, I'll put links to the website, links to your LinkedIn profile as well. Make sure you follow James. He's got some interesting content on there that he shares. So really great to have you on today.
No,
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Yeah.
Cheers, James.
Yes.